Welcome. This is the final part to a six-part series on scholarly habits for exegetical papers. This is Habit 6, Greek Exegetical Papers, thinking of them as imagined debates among friendly scholars. So let's just jump right into it. An exegetical paper for this course is to choose a text from a Thessalonian correspondence or another New Testament text to exegete. The topic should allow for observation in the text, interpretive questions that spawn an imaginatory debate, and for that debate to be entered in by commentaries, taking them as if the commentators say Fee or F.F. Bruce or Wannabe or Malaby were sitting at the table with you and discussing it. And then bringing in, once we've discussed it a little bit, scholarly papers on the same topic. That should help you learn a lot. It's a wonderful topic. Please choose something you're interested in because, as I just described, there'll be a lot of work as you set up the original ideas, as you set up the observations and questions, and then you dig into your own results in the text, and then bring in the commentators and the scholarly papers, and then debate and provide it in a wonderfully concise form. Now, the paper must have 10 exterior sources besides the Greek text, and that's the text in the NA 28 critical analysis, and the BDAG. You must have 3 commentaries, 3 scholarly papers, and 4 other things of your choosing which are scholarly. These could be a grammar book. This could be an idiom fact. This could be more commentaries and more scholarly papers. Your statistics on it, 9 to 12 pages. If you run long, give me a note so that you and I discussed. 1 or 2 pages, maybe 20. Nope, not going to work for the right form of a journal paper. Follow the Turabian guidelines as defined in the Divinity School. Submit your final version of PDF. And again, I'm going to emphasize 10 exterior sources between the Greek text and the BDAG. The outline is fairly simple. Provide an introduction, set the context, do the structural analysis of the passage, do the translation, do the expectation and interpretation. That is the same. Here's a question, here's my answer. Follow the structure given in the analysis, and then come to a summary, a conclusion, and apply and give implications. Remember that every good introduction has a leading statement, a thesis, a purpose, a subject, and an issue that's explained within the paragraph, a scope which is clearly defined, in a methodology. In your larger immediate context, remember this is going to be your literary context, the historical context. It is LAD's intertextual, the historical, the contextual, the competitive, and the rhetorical. It is also the social rhetorical if you use Robbins. It is the intertextual. It is the social cultural texture and the ideology texture. Now, let's look at the scriptural analysis. We did this in week 3 to try to look at the passage, the structural relationships within Thessalonians. Let me sort of narrow this down to 1 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 16. In there, the UBS has it simply as one major unit, 1 through 16. Fee breaks it into an opening, a narrative, puts this 2, 1 through 16 as an opening, and a narrative in 2, 1 through 12, a thanksgiving in 2, 13, and a narrative in 2, 14. Bruce says it's an apostolic defense from 2, 1 to 2, 12, and thanksgiving in 2, 13 and 2, 16. Notice he breaks it down into subunits of missionary visits, missionary behavior, missionary example. Again, he's now got a theme that he's working on. If you look at Best, he says it's really initial behavior of the apostles in 1 through 12 and renewed thanksgiving. If you look in Morris, he calls it reminiscences, responses to original preaching, preaching of gospel. If you look at Mallarby, which is welcomed, he says it's an autobiography and talks about Paul's ministry in Thessalonica in 1 through 12, and then talks in 2:13 through 16, the word under persecution. Wallace, on the other hand, says it's Paul's relationships to the Thessalonians in 1 through 13, and thanks for Thessalonians. He sees the defense of Paul's apostleship and the Thessalonians' conversion in 1 through 16, where it's a positive defense in 1 through 12, and a negative defense in 2:13 through 16. He has subsections on that, statement and defense in each, and in the negative defense, Thessalonians' reception and the opponent's rejection. If you look further, we would have to say all of these are possible, whether it be Wallace, Mallarby, Morris, Best, Fee, Bruce, and UBS. But in your paper, pick one that works for your argument. Your argumentation must follow your basic structure. So make your structure as these exegetical people did, made it fit what they were arguing. Morris argued reminiscence. Mallarby argued autobiography. Wallace argues that it's Paul's relationships to the Thessalonians. The UBS simply says Paul's ministry. Bruce says apostolic defense. Make sure your structural analysis fits what you're working. Then follow it with the translations based on the headings from your section. If you have subsections, use that. Discuss structural issues from the NA 2H critical analysis if you wish. Then follow the structure for the question and the observations. Provide observations and questions that lead to the interpretive answer that fit back with your theme. So you followed pretty much the order of your exegetical study, except that in order to provide things easily for the reader, you set the context early. You do the intertextual work up front. You provide literary context and social rhetorical, so the reader does not have to think to work on that. Then when you provide your headings and your textual issues and your exposition or interpretations of the question and answers, your reader understands it inherently. Now, as part of the interpretive answers, you bring in your commentaries, you bring in your scholarly papers, you come to the conclusion based on your argument, so that that exposition is all of your commentary authors and your scholarly paper authors sitting around the table after you've set up the questions, the observations, and you've had a debate. You come to the end of the debate, you're the person who's running the debate. You summarize and hand off between commentary authors, you summarize and hand off between the debating scholarly papers, and you bring at last to a clear discussion of the key points. You summarize them, you come to an implication, just as a good debating moderator does, and then you bring to the summary of the paper and the conclusion, and then you bring the implication of what you learned. Now, that's what we'll expect in your papers. Remember to follow the structure and the analysis and to give a clear implication. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching the Scholarly Habits series. I hope that it helps you as you work in the scholarly debates, in discussion forums, and in the exegetical papers that you'll be writing this term. If you did need more help with the word study, please make sure to watch that. If you need help with to watch that video series, it's a 12-part series. If you need help with the Socio-Rhetorical, make sure to watch that video series. Thank you very much.